Some salts are edible, like table salt, without which food would be quite tasteless. Some other salts, such as alums, are used in water treatment plants to coagulate waste particles in water and make it usable. So what exactly are salts? How is common salt different from alum? Let's find out. A salt is a compound formed when the hydrogen of an acid is wholly or partly replaced by a metal. Hydrochloric acid forms salts such as sodium chloride and magnesium chloride. Nitric acid forms salts such as silver nitrate and potassium nitrate. Sulfuric acid forms sulfates such as sodium sulfate. If all the hydrogen atoms are replaced by a metal or ammonium ions, then the salt is a normal salt. If the hydrogen atoms are partly replaced by a metal, then the salt is an acidic salt. Do acid salts behave like acids? When acid salts dissociate in water, they yield hydrogen or hydronium ions along with metallic ions. The only white pigment used in European painting until the 19th century was toxic. Its use has now been banned. Classical European painters in oils used white lead in their white paints. White lead, or lead carbonate hydroxide, is a basic salt. Malachite was also used as a mineral pigment in green paints from antiquity until about 1800. Malachite is an example of a naturally occurring basic salt, basic copper 2 carbonate. So what is a basic salt? A basic salt is the compound formed when some of the oxide or hydroxide ions of a base are replaced by other negative ions. Basic salts are usually insoluble in water. Many people use styptic pencils for minor skin wounds from razors. Styptic pencils are small sticks, usually made of a powdered or crystalline form of alum. They employ alum's antibacterial properties. Alum contains two cations, potassium and aluminium, and a sulfate anion, and is an example of a double salt. A double salt is a salt having two different anions and or cations. A double salt is obtained by crystallization from a solution containing two different salts in the same concentrations in terms of moles per liter. During the formation of double salts, no new ions are formed. Double salts ionize as two distinct salts when dissolved in water. Minerals such as dolomite and carnallite are examples of double salts. A subset of double salts is the mixed salts. When a solution of two salts taken in unequal proportions is allowed to crystallize, then mixed salts are obtained. On a sheet of glass, write any word with a styptic pencil. When a cold solution of alum in water is poured over the glass, the invisible writing appears as white lines. When the microscopic particles of alum left on the glass by styptic pencil come into contact with the alum solution, they serve as a starting point for a rapid crystal growth. When alum is picked up from the solution, these tiny crystals grow until the writing appears as broad white lines. Sometimes table salt cakes or hardens when exposed to humid conditions. To prevent this, a chemical, potassium hexacyanoferrate 2, is added to table salt as an anti-caking agent. Potassium hexacyanoferrate 2 is an example of a complex salt. It is formed when a solution of potassium cyanide and iron 2 sulfate is allowed to crystallize. The solution of this complex salt does not contain either iron 2 or cyanide ions. Instead, new ions are formed, one of which is a complex ion.